All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. So we're going late today. Almost up to lock. Lock gets pushed back to 7:30, and I can't believe my eyes, BJ. I just saw the Oakland Raiders. They're 2-9, and they're down, and they punted in Chief territory. I've never seen anything like it, but this is an NBA show. Hopefully, everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully, your Black Friday has been good, and hopefully, we got some people in the chat that's got some shippers coming up. Um, in this NFL game that's going final. But hey, I'll pass it over to you. How was your Thanksgiving, man? Happy Black Friday. What's going on?
Hey man, good. Yeah, good Thanksgiving. It was just fun. Went down to San Diego, got to watch some sports. I feel like everybody's a degenerate during that couple day stretch. All the NBA stuff, and then obviously football all day Thursday, and then starting today. I mean, you got college football, college basketball, NBA. You got a Black Friday game, so we've been busy over here and looking to finish strong on some NBA stuff to end the night.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, dude. We normally do the show 2 hours earlier, but this is almost up to lock. We'll get some live breaking news as we go into this slate. But let's say hello to some people in the chat. What's going on, Charlie? My guy Jordan's in here. Desmond's in here. Michael, what's going on? Go Collect, as always, wins a lot. The GOAT himself, Hebrew Cheetah, Parabay, as always, DB, Average Pilot, and my guy, Gang Green. Certainly appreciate everyone tuning in. There's about 50 of you in here now. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We got a 9-gamer tonight. We're going to go through it. I'm showing you the stone here that you see. This game has already happened. No, these these are the games that we're going to be talking about. Let's get to the slate. We're going to start with the Magic and the Nets. I know there's a bunch of injury news on the net side. Banchero is still out, but talk to me about this first game, BJ. Magic at the Nets. Talk about who's in and who's out for this Brooklyn team.
Yeah, so we just got word that Claxton and Wilson are going to be in. We're still waiting on DFS and Cam Johnson. I got the phone here, so if you hear it, kind of buzzing as we're going off, that's going to be the phone with the updates. We look like Norman's out. That'll be next game, but Norman's officially out. Like I said, we're still waiting on DFS and Cam Johnson. This is where we're going to find some value today. So we'll start with the Magic side. That's a lot easier. Wendell Carter Jr. is back, played 18 minutes. They just released that starting lineup. He is going to start again with Goga. So he played 18 minutes on Wednesday. Kind of looking at the low 20 minutes projection there. He's 5K. Don't really love it. Franz at 9,600. He's been awesome. I think he's over 50 DraftKings points in 5 out of the last 9. Interesting to kind of see. He wasn't on the injury report. I saw some stuff on Twitter. He rolled his ankle. Interesting to see him not on the injury report. With the win, they look pretty good here in their pod. I think they have a 37-point differential. I don't know. Do they get the Knicks? I think they get the Knicks on Tuesday. I need to double check that. But regardless, going to Franz, and then just a couple of other notes. I don't love this game. I'm just kind of giving you like a breakdown of the Magic side before we jump into the important side with the Nets. Suggs at 65. It's possible to me like he might get a small uptick with Franz's ankle maybe bothering him. He's not on the injury report, but I mean, you roll an ankle, you're a basketball player, you understand how that kind of changes things. But don't really love anything. Last person I'll bring up for the Magic. Jonathan Isaac, he's low 20 minutes. He's getting his upside. He has 12 stocks in the last 3 games, 4,200. Kind of an ugly game. Obviously, the Nets aren't the best pace wise in the NBA, but they give it up and they don't have a great defensive rating. But with the total we have in this game, I don't really love it. The interesting side is going to be the Nets. Shake, like Rio wrote up in the slate plan, he's going to be involved at 3,500 if we get the injury news that we want. I was really bummed to see Claxton because I was kind of looking forward to some Watford at 39. Can't really get there in my eyes right now. with Claxton back in. Obviously, he'll get some run, but, I don't love it as much. It's really going to be Shake is going to lead it off. And then questions about Ben Simmons. I mean, he's back to point guard eligible. He could get a ton of run in here. But I'm really looking to see who cracks the starting lineup. If Johnson gets in there at 32, that would be interesting. But I think it's going to be Shake at 35. But like I said, we're really waiting on this Nets news. Hopefully we get it on show. But if DFS is in, it kind of takes away all these forwards down at the bottom. And I'm really curious to see who's going to start. I believe it's going to be Shake. If Cam Johnson does play at 68, it's not a very fun price tag, but I mean, somebody's got to shoot the ball, and so he'll be there. I mean, like I said, we're waiting, so we'll hopefully we circle back to this here. See if I missed anything here. No, I mean Zaire Williams. I mean, he's 49 off the bench. I was kind of looking at him to see if he gets, extra run if everybody was out, but it doesn't look like so much. And then we have Martin at 3K down at the bottom. Obviously, he played really well last time out, but I don't think that we're going to be able to get him a huge minutes bump if these guys are in.
Yeah, we got somebody mentioned Keon Johnson. You kind of talked about him a little bit. It's just, yeah, I mean, hopefully we get it on the show. We can give it to you guys live. But yeah, a lot of just injury news that we got to wait and see. And there's going to be some value opening up if these regulars, if these starters do miss some. Excellent breakdown there. Moving on to this next game, I'm in a different form tonight, so I hate having to do this. I'm gonna get to the other one here before it's all said and done. But the next game is going to be the Norman Powell-less Clippers. That makes me like Harden a little bit more, taking on these T-Wolves. Talk to me a little bit about this game. This is an interesting game, in my opinion. It's a low total, but you got the Clippers at Minnesota.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. I love to, kind of hear a few thoughts on that as I kind of finish this game. I wrote probably the ugliest game on the slate, in my opinion. I've kind of faded a lot of these Timberwolves games when they're on these slates, and it's worked out pretty decently. But they're just not very fun to target. 21st in pace, ninth in defensive rating. It's interesting to see Zubac's price come down with his 18 and 16 in 24 minutes versus Washington. Obviously versus Washington, but 6,800 is really intriguing to me. And then Harden at 92. Now that Norman's officially out, he feels like one of the safest options at that price tag. Everybody targeted him at 9K the other night, and he dropped a 66 bomb. I think he had 40 real life, something like that. But if you kind of look at some of these games, obviously he's going to have that extreme upside when he rebounds the ball a little bit better than average, and then has a few more assist opportunities. And if he doesn't have either one of those, he's going to have to score. So I could see this game not necessarily being like a ceiling game for him, but a very safe play at 9-2. Derek Jones Jr. is playing really well at 3,700. He's mid-20s in minutes, and now that Norman's officially out, he does have a little bit of upside, which he showed us before at 37. Interested to see how that kind of shakes out with the Nets stuff. If we do get some of this Nets value that we're looking for, he could be an interesting pivot that really nobody's really looking at. So I know it's an ugly game, in my opinion, and kind of an ugly total, but he could definitely be in play. Kevin Porter Jr. at 4,300. He was, big time chalk on Wednesday night, especially like in the smaller fields, kind of higher dollar stuff. He was very owned and kind of did not fulfill what he was supposed to do in 25 minutes. I believe he was 1 for 9 from the field. And then the last guy I'll kind of say on this team before we jump over the Timberwolves sides, Bomba at 3K. I kind of thought about it last time out, did not get to it. But interesting kind of spot, with Zubac if he does get in foul trouble. But 114 total, 103 here, but 104 is a very scary team total for me on a 7-game slate. So that's really all I have for the Clippers side. Same kind of goes for the Wolves on the other side. Like, I don't really love any of these pieces. I mean, Mike Conley, his price at 4,600 is definitely interesting. I don't love it, but he does have 3 straight games of 30 minutes. With the DiVincenzo stuff not playing well. Could get an extra run. So I don't know. I mean, he's just somebody to kind of mention. It looks like he's going to be a touch popular. And then Naz Reid at 47. He's getting mid-20s minutes. I don't love this game. And that's kind of how we open up the slate. We go ugly game, only game. So I don't really have anything that I absolutely love here. I guess Gobert is okay at 65, kind of a safer play. but I don't want to get to Randall. McDaniels at 5K, I can't get behind that. You can always play Ant for his upside that he has behind the 3-point line, but 93, I think I'd rather just take the $100 savings and get to Harden. But what am I missing here? You said you kind of like this game. Anything come off the top of your head?
No. I said I didn't like this game, but I mean, I'm
Oh,
just
my
looking
bad.
at Ant at 93. I like Ant over Harden. I mean, Ant is playing 38 plus minutes. I mean, 3 straight 50 DK point games. I think he has that upside, with those threes like you talked about. So it would be Ant only for me in this contest. I mean, these Clippers look gross, but yeah, give me some Ant, and that's about it in this one. But yeah, this game, I do not like this game at all.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And like I said, I've done a good job this season kind of staying away from both of these teams as much as I can. Obviously, in great spots like last time out for Harden and Zubac, you have to play them. But kind of stay away from these teams. It's been pretty profitable for you.
I think Harden was that the last game that they played where he hit 5 threes in the first quarter against Philly.
Yeah, I think he had like
Um,
43 that night. I think it was
yeah.
versus Washington, no? It was versus
Yeah, I
Washington.
think you're probably yeah, it was Washington. Yep, it was Washington. So yeah, he was balling out that night. Moving on to the next game. Should be a pretty good game. We got some, semi-injury news on the Pistons. Looks like Cade's going to play. I'll let you talk about the injuries, but you got the Pistons going into the Pacers. I do like this game. This is one I do like. But talk to me a little bit about this game. Pistons at the Pacers.
Yeah, no, Jimmy Butler, he wasn't really in risk to miss, but he just got ruled in. So we'll talk about him in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, Tobias and Cade, I don't have any news on them. They're both questionable. They both did participate in shoot around this morning. So I'm going to consider them both in. This is a huge game for the Pistons. If they win this game, they get the Bucks on Tuesday, which they can win and then win their pod. So I nod on both of them being in the game. For the Pacer stuff, usual suspects, Shepard's out. So that'll bring in some Quentin Jackson, which we'll get to. But starting with the Pistons, I like Cade in this spot. I mean, he's been playing so well, and his price tag is elevated. But in a must-win game, if you will, must-win, depending on how they take the NBA Cup, I really like it. He's just printed 50 bombs this entire season. And I know the price is a little bit higher, than it started the season, but I'm definitely okay there. Jaden Ivey, I mean, he's been playing awesome with Cade off the floor, but 7K might be a little too much for me. He's going to lose that extreme usage rate that he's had over the last few games. So I'm going to stay away there. Tim Hardaway, I don't want to waste the time on the show to talk about Tim Hardaway, 3,800. Unfortunate, Beasley's price is a little up. We kind of utilized him when we had some injuries last time out, but he's a little too much for me as well as 5,600. And then same goes for Tobias Harris. I mean, I think, this game is important. So it's 6,400 and he kind of offers that safe kind of play, but I don't think there's much upside at 6,400. So I'm going to stay away. So really for me, it's just going to be Cade only in this spot in a must-win game where he, could get the extra run into the 40s in minutes, as well as Isaiah Stewart down at the bottom, kind of a sneakier play here. He's been playing really well over the last 3 at a $4,100 price tag. DK games of 33, almost 30 with 29.8 and then 28.3. He did have a stinker last time out where it was like 2.5 points, but that was versus Memphis. He went 0 for 6 from the field. But at all 3 of those games before the last stinker last time out, Durham is in all those. So, I believe, what he's shown is he's been playing well, has the upside at 41 to kind of be super sneaky. I don't recommend it if you're making a handful of lineups, but definitely something to consider in a spot where you can attack Miles Turner. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pistons side. As we go to the Pacers, this is what's interesting because we're going to talk about Halliburton. We're going to talk about a 4K Quentin Johnson. We're going to talk about the same thing that I wrestle with every time the Pacers are on the slate with this low 7K price tag on Siakam and Turner. So we'll start with Halliburton. Last week I believe it was like the 8K zone, maybe the 8.3 zone. For Halliburton. Now his price is starting to creep up a little bit after 2 really good games versus Portland and New Orleans. 2 teams that obviously, he should play well against, but those were high scoring double-digit, double games where he's able to score into the 20s and the 30s and have double-digit assists, where he scored 58 and 68 DraftKings points. I don't know if this is necessarily the spot to go back to him. I mean, I'll call his price fair, but I don't really love it. And then we'll just kind of go down the list. Same goes for Matthew. Like at 6,300, I like him more than Halliburton. I believe they're in a really good spot here. He's an efficient scorer, so if he's able to, get going early, 6,300 isn't going to be enough if this game stays close. And the same goes for Miles Turner. Like, we attacked some Pistons big over the last couple of weeks, and he's not the traditional, like Rio said in the slate plan, it's not the traditional kind of spot for a big man as he shoots so many threes. But he offers such a high floor if you look at his game log. So I wouldn't mind going to Miles Turner down at 65. He's probably going to be my favorite. If I'm making one lineup, gun to my head, who's going to produce well for you? I'd probably go him as the safest option. But then Quentin Jackson at 4K, back-to-back games with 32 and 33 minutes. He produced, well in those spots at 24 and 26 DraftKings points, taking 8 and 10 shots in both of those games. So I like it. The thing to kind of realize here is he had 4 stocks in both of those games total, so 2 and 2. That kind of changes, the upside in my mind. If he doesn't get, the extra 4, 5, 6 points, it may be. We could be looking at a 19 to 22 spot here on Quentin Jackson at some elevated ownership. Yes, he has some upside, but that's what kind of makes me nervous here. If he gets up into the high 20s in ownership, maybe 30% if we don't get the net stuff, I'm curious to see him, kind of killing the field with a 19, taking 7 shots, not getting any stocks. Kind of gives me the Jameer Gibb vibes from yesterday, where I was fully exposed, and you're sitting there at a guy that should smash, but you just kind of harness yourself and take away winning first place at his tag.
You walk in touchdown turns into a fumble, and next thing you know, Gibbs didn't get an opportunity.
I'll interrupt. Sorry. You're sitting there drinking mimosas. The game starts. It's early on the West Coast. You're like, man, we're going to eat some lunch, then go have dinner. He's got, it seems every time he touches the ball, he goes for 10 yards, and he ends the game with 11, which is just so unreal. But like I said, NBA show, but unreal.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, this is a great breakdown, by the way. And I'm with you. It's Cade only on the Pistons, but I mean, Halliburton would be my favorite. I mean, I know I've talked a lot of trash about Halliburton, but if you look at his game log over the last week, the minutes are there, the participation's there. I really like him. I like Matherin as well. I mean, obviously the $2,200 discount is awesome. Siakam's in a smash spot as well. Siakam's been playing great, and then you said it, Miles Turner. So I have tons of interest in these Pacers. No TJ McConnell. I don't think you mentioned TJ, but doesn't sound like you have interest in him, and I don't either. It would be those 4, and then Quentin Jackson, depending on, if we get that value in the Brooklyn game, Quentin Jackson should be pretty unowned. But not just, I shouldn't say pretty unknown, but just depends on what happens in that Brooklyn game. He should be lesser owned than he should be, and he has tons of upside. So give me those starters for the Pacers. Really like them. Moving over to the next game, and we got some notifications as you were talking, but nothing major. Everybody for the Bulls is in that we thought was going to be in. But the next game is going to be those Raptors. Scotty Barnes back in the fold. No Grady Dick tonight. No the guard. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Yeah, no, Emmanuel Quickly. And then on the Heat side, everybody's in. Jimmy Butler, you said, is in. Bam is in. Tyler Hero is in. All the big boys are in for the Heat. So talk to me a little bit about this game. Should be an interesting game. Toronto at Miami.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got to start with the coolest name in the NBA, Jacoby Walter. So, he's going to be 3K, played 29 or 28 minutes last time out, 40 DraftKings points on 14 shots. Not only that, he went for 40 DraftKings points, been 2 for 10 from the 3-point line. So, he's going to be popular, rightfully so. 3K just, it's such a difference in 3K versus 4K or a 3,900 and a 3K. 3K min salary, lock and load, so much can happen. So he's going to lead off. He might, be the most popular play on the entire slate. I will be playing him. Unfortunately, I think 3K is too much to get away from, especially when he's shown 40-point upside, going 2 for 10 from 3. And then, the real tough one to wrestle with for me, the total, it's okay. It's not great, but it's also not bad, right around that 220 number. It's Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. I mean, they're priced similarly 8.5 and 8.3. Somebody has to help score 106 points here tonight. So I'm going to go with Scotty Barnes since he's been back. He's been playing really well. It's obviously taken away from Pirtle, but I'm going to go Scotty Barnes. It looks like they just want to get him back in. He's their best player. They've talked about that. They want their team to revolve around him. So I'm going to edge him out over RJ. But I think, it's a little bit closer than what people realize, especially if the ownership is going to be 10 to 15% difference. If that's the case, I don't mind getting a little Barrett inside of your portfolios. But they are both priced correctly. Really, that's it. I'm okay eating the 3K chalk. I don't want to get, Abaje's okay, at 4,700, but he's kind of shown a little bit of a floor over some of these games recently. I don't like Pirtle with Scotty Barnes back, kind of taking away a lot of his upside as well. And then Mitchell off the bench, no thanks since he's gone back. I can't get behind some of the whether it's Bruno or Mogbo or Boucher off the bench. The Heat have just been playing really slow for me, and I think I'm just going to target a 3K guy in question to see if we can get the whole offense and all the usage to go through Barnes and RJ. Then I might want to decide to pick between one of those guys. Same kind of goes for the Heat. Duncan Robinson, in the starting lineup now at 4,600. He's played back-to-back games of 30 minutes. At his price at 46, I don't know how much upside there really is at that tag. I like him down in the high $3,000 range, obviously. But anytime he goes out, he has the potential of hitting, like what you hit. I didn't shout you out at the start of the show, but pulling an 8 3-pointer game, like you did with Dame. But he always has that upside. And then Bam, I think he's priced correctly. He's in a decent matchup. And more than decent, he's in a good matchup. But 8,300 in a slower paced game. I think I like too many other things on the slate. I'll take a discount of almost, $1,500 to Zubac, for example. I don't mind Tyler Hero at 7,800. He continues to chuck up, double-digit threes, so I don't mind that. No Jimmy for me. Very frustrating roster. 8K, I think, is a very fair price tag. But that's kind of where I stand on this game. I don't want Rozier off the bench. Not really loving anything else. But if you have anything to do to chime in for this game, absolutely go for it. But I missed you at the start of the show. Shout out to you for just an absolute smash ticket on the Dame plus 8 3-pointers.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. The game had started, and I looked 5 minutes in, and Dame had 4 threes. So, right out the gate. So, I was obviously tracking it then. No, I appreciate that. That was a good day to have. But yeah, this game is tricky. I mean, I'm with you, Jacoby. Jacoby, I think, is good chalk. What did he play? 28 minutes last time out. 40. I think he had 40 DraftKings points last time out, like you said, and he has that upside for sure. Just going back over here, I mean, Scotty Barnes, I really like tonight. I don't mind Bam. That's one name that I do like. Bam and centers in general have just dominated this Raptors team all season long. I wish Hero or Butler were going to miss, but obviously they're not. So that might limit his upside. But Bam in this spot is good. And then outside of that, yeah, it's tough to get. It's tough to get to these Heat guys outside of Bam, in my opinion. So it'd be Bam, Scotty Barnes, and Jacoby Walter for me in this matchup. Next one, BJ, should be an interesting one to talk about. You see that right, 127.5 total in this one. The Celtics going to score a lot of points. You talked about the Raptors a minute ago. Someone's got to get those points. Who do you got from the Celtics side? Those notifications that came across were those Bulls. Looks like they're all going to play. Kobe White. Looks like everybody's going to play, including Lonzo Ball, who I saw early in the day. What was it? 15 to 20 minutes is kind of his limit tonight. Jalen Smith is in. Talk to me a little bit about this game, Celtics versus the up pace Bulls team.
Yeah, this is super interesting. So, dang, I pulled it down, but to go off the top of my head, two things. First, it's kind of a big game here with the Hawks beating the Cavs earlier this afternoon. Really, whoever wins this game wins the pod. And point differential really won't matter, I guess, for the Bulls. I think it's exactly 15-15. So if the Bulls are able to beat the Celtics, they end up winning the pod. Additionally, Mazzulla talked about how they've been giving up so much at the rim over the last few weeks that they might be going double big here. So even though our projected lineup here has Tatum in at the 4, I think first sub off the bench could be Drew Holiday out for an Al Horford and then go double big. I know Porzingis is on his minutes, not limit, but they're working him back in after missing so much time. So I'm really curious to watch this game as a whole. If it goes to how like Rio and I kind of chatted about it in the Discord, we think Holiday's first out with maybe a Horford in. I don't know if they make another sub with that, but it'll leave Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Porzingis and Horford. If that's the case, I'm all over these guards. I don't want to, Horford, okay, fine at 4,700. I mean, obviously, his upside is gone with Porzingis, so I don't recommend tournament winning upside, playing him, but, certainly in play. But it's going to be White, Brown, and Tatum for me. I think I rank them Tatum, Brown, White, but Brown is so close at an 8K tag with, like you said, 127, 128 team total. We could see this game just being a complete launch fest. We know the Celtics like to shoot threes, and the Bulls give up everything. So this is just a great spot for, I think, specifically those guys. I don't want to fall in love with trying to get cute with a 5K Holiday. And I think Derek White, at 6,800 doesn't give you a ton of upside, but he can get hot from behind three. So Tatum and Brown are very close for me as my top Celtics, followed by White. Really after that, I don't love anything. And then to bring back up Horford, if we do see double-digit ownership, there's no way I'm going to go there. But then going over to the Bull side, that's what's interesting. You see this game, you see this total, you see it's an important game. And, before I dove into it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get to some Bulls tonight. It's going to be fun. I love rostering, 3 Bulls on a team. They're just, the games go so fast. But this is weird. The Celtics are so good versus the catch and shoot. They're, they funnel everything to the paint. And I don't want to go ultra brain, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, great. I get to fade some Bulls here. Rhea brought up the Vooch is a little sneaky in the Discord, which I could totally see, like Missoula was talking about, they're giving up stuff at the rim. But I'm curious to see if they go double big, like how that affects their catch and their defense catch and shoot rate, right? They're the best in the league, and so that would obviously take away from the Bulls. But if they do go double big, thinking about a Galaxy rain now, does that mean that they're going to give up a bunch of catch and shoot opportunities? And I think I'm overthinking it a little bit. I think I'm going to fall into the camp of like, well, with White in at 6,900, he's obviously very interesting. But I won't find myself, rostering many of these Bulls if this is the case. I think Celtics, they win this game pretty handily, win their pod and keep moving forward. But if we do have to talk about the Bulls, let's talk about them. Obviously, everybody off the bench is going to be kind of no for me. White at 69 probably profile is my favorite. The injury to his wrist was on his, opposite hand, so it wasn't on his shooting hand. So 69 feels really good. And, he obviously offers upside, especially when his shot falls. No Giddey for me at his tag. You kind of start to watch some of these games, and he's the first sub. Yes, he is getting those minutes, but, I'm going to stay away from him in this matchup tonight. Desomu, like at 54, it's so hard because he was so popular the night that he had such, a ceiling game in the 40s. And then, everybody continues to roster him. I just don't know how much upside we have at 5,400. When all these guys are on the floor, I mean, what is he, the fifth person to shoot? Well, he'll probably shoot more than Giddey, but yeah, I think he's the fourth or fifth option. If this game one does stay close and these starters finish out the game, additionally to start the game. So I'm going to stay away from that. Zach LaVine at 7,800. I like targeting him at like 71, 72, 7,300. Now you get 7,800 with the matchup versus the Celtics. No, thank you. And then to finish, I do like a little Vooch, like Rhea brought up in the chat. That is sneaky, especially if they don't make the change to go double big. And 2, like if they try to, but Porzingis obviously doesn't get that extra run because they're monitoring his minutes. 82, obviously has upside there, but to kind of, gather myself before I pass it off to you, I'm really just targeting those 3 main Celtics in Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. Additionally, it depends if you want to go like crazy Galaxy brain on one side and think that if they decide to go double big and guard the paint better, then they're going to give up the catch and shoot opportunities. If that's the case, I like White, I like LaVine. But if you kind of want to just approach this game that they're not going to make very many changes, then I think, Vooch is in a sneaky spot.
Yeah, no, fantastic breakdown. I couldn't agree with you more. Vooch would be my number 1 Bull that I like. Gangrene said no Bulls for him in the chat. That's fine too, but Vooch would be my favorite. And then, Brown, Tatum. I have some interest in Peyton Pritchard at 4,800. He's been playing 20-plus minutes every game. I mean, I think he can get up to 30, 35 DraftKings points. Any interest in Peyton Pritchard? Am I on an island on that one?
I always like rostering him. I find him as like, the spot that I want to play. I could absolutely see that if they run the Bulls out of the gym, especially at a sub 5K price tag and with the amount of threes that he's shooting for sure. I'll be making 3 teams tonight. He probably won't make my build unless I'm going like super Celtics heavy and maybe getting 2 of those studs that I talked about, and then maybe getting Pritchard to get hot and then finish the game as they're running the Bulls out of the gym.
Let me ask you this last question because I think Tatum and Brown are two of the best plays. But what about Tatum and Brown on the same team? Do you have any interest in that, or does that kind of just limit the upside to each of them?
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable like we just saw like Cam Johnson's, and I'll feel more comfortable in that if we had like some cheap guys in the 3K range that we felt really confident in. Obviously, we have one of those in Jacoby, but I would have felt more confident with either one getting a bunch of the lower price guys on the slate to be able to be in. That would kind of differentiate you a little bit on a 7-game slate playing both of those guys. But if you did go that route, I definitely want some Bulls on the other side. And just defensive statistically for me, I'm nothing, not trying to like do a Rio thing here because he's got all the rankings down. But just kind of seeing the catch and shoot stuff, I don't know how close of a game this could be. And that definitely would limit upside in my mind.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. Let's move on to the next one, which should be a pretty good game. We have the Thunder headed to LA, and SGA should be A-OK in this one. This matchup is a smash spot for Mr. Gilgeous-Alexander. I love SGA. I love Hartenstein in this one. Hey, my boy Dalton Connect, when he's in the starting lineup, which we're showing he is tonight, he's been balling. You obviously, the big boys for the Lakers. Talk to me about this game. I can't wait to watch it. Thunder at the Lakers.
Yeah, no, I mean, this, is this the fastest game on the slate? Like, is this the most open gym-esque? Obviously, the Bulls game we just talked about, but
Right.
the Celtics, are pretty good defensively, as are the Thunder. But the Lakers give up points. OKC does not. They both play at a good pace. One of my favorite guys from years. I haven't, thought about him since last season or the season before that. But Hardenstein back in the mix at 6,800. He's been balling since he's been coming back. So, him and SGA are going to profile as my favorite plays on the slate. Like Rio alluded to in the slate plan. SGA is averaging 50 some points with Chet off the floor. So I believe he's priced appropriately in a game that could matter for the NBA Cup. I think the Thunder kind of win this game and it doesn't matter, but the Lakers definitely in contention. But yeah, no, it's SGA and Hardenstein for me. I think in the 3 games that Hardenstein has been back, it's been averaging 30 minutes and 40 DraftKings points. He's doubled in all of those. That's definitely taken away from Jalen Williams as we look at his rebounding rates. So Jalen Williams is going to rank at the 3rd or the bottom for my plays that I want on the Thunder just because of that spot. I think he's going to have to depend a ton on his scoring. And stocks. I mean, you kind of look at his last 3 games, he has 10 stocks, and you continue to look at games, and that's what he does. He accumulates, very high floors in stocks. So I'm going to go Hardenstein and SGA is kind of like my 1A, 1B favorite plays. I don't really want to get Q outside of that for anybody. But if we're getting them both at sub 10% owned on a 7-game slate, load them up against the Lakers. And then jumping over to the Lakers side, AD again, man. I mean, he has, just Prince 50-point games. I think he has 70-point upside in this spot, kind of in a have to win kind of game back at home. So yeah, I love me some AD, especially if the field is getting to him at that 10 to 13 to 14 ownership range. So check him off, and then you're right. Connect, I think, is going to continue to start 4,500. But at that price tag, I think I like Russell a little bit more. He's been playing well off the bench. And Connect, is going to have to hit a bunch of shots as Russell, but I kind of like him as kind of it used to be sneakier coming off the bench, but at 4,400. But I love this game. I love, the few plays that I did have, and that's really kind of where I'm going to go. I'm not going to really get cute. I mean, yeah, we can get behind a Reeves at 64. But I think, Rio alluded to this in the previous show and a previous slate plan. We're not seeing so much of his upside now that Russell has gone to the bench. So Rui, he kind of fell off over the last couple of, since he's been back, last couple of games at 47. So not really in love with much. I'm going to go Russell over Connect, AD by far over LeBron in tonight's spot. And then for the Thunder, SGA and Hartenstein way ahead of Jalen Williams for me.
I think you misspoke a minute ago, and Rui actually fell off when he entered the NBA, so it wasn't a couple games ago.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
No,
he played well to start the season. I'm
he
like, who
did.
is
He
this
did.
guy? You
I
know?
know. I
Yeah.
know, but I don't know. I loved him at Gonzaga, and then whatever. But and I will disagree with you though on D'Lo. No D'Lo love for me. I think Connect. I think LeBron, and I obviously have no idea, but I think it feels like LeBron likes Connect. He's way better than Cam Reddish, way better than Max Christie. Being that starting guard, opposite those dudes. And hey, took 15 shots last time. If you can get the 35 DraftKings points, which I think you can, I like that. Yeah, Hartenstein and SGA would lead the way for me as well. Hey, they're going to lead the way for everybody tonight. I think. I think that ownership on SGA, we're showing 8 and 10 on Hartenstein. I actually think that's higher. My personal self, I think it's closer to 15. But I'll ask you this question again. Just like the last game, LeBron and AD on the same team. I mean, you're going to have to find some cheap guys as well. I mean, that's almost 20. Was that 20 almost 20 and a half thousand? Can you play both guys on the same team, or is that just stretch your lineup too thin?
Yeah, no, I really like that strategy if the slate was like 3 to 5 games, because obviously any given time they go out, AD prints double doubles, and LeBron always has a chance at that triple double. So I don't hate it, but I just think I'd rather, if I'm going to go that route, try and get like SGA on the other side, and then pick it. I mean, you can kind of make combos there. But no, not for me. I get it, and it's kind of a sneakier way, which I've seen some of these, big time players in these smaller field high dollar stuff kind of make some plays like that. But I can't get behind that, not on a 7 game slate. If it was 3 or 4 games, absolutely. Just because they do have the upside. Like this would be a combo where LeBron could go for his 12 assists and sneak in his late triple double, late in the fourth quarter, and AD will double at half.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Appreciate all 100 of you out there watching. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trevor Brown, we got Malik Monk on deck. We're going to talk about him. That will be the last game for the night. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hey, but this should be a decent little game, I think. 7.5 point spread. You got no DeMar DeRozan tonight. We know what Fox and Sabonis have done without him on the court. Malik Monk came in last week, and hey, I'm just going to give my boy Hebrew a shout out. He had Malik Monk in the slate playing last Friday. All he did at 2% own was put up a 54 burger. I had him in my single entry team. Hey, that was a great call by
That
my
was it.
guy.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was great because I saw that happen and I like did not even think about looking at it until I saw him bring it up. And I
Yeah,
didn't get to it. And then the night ended. I'm thinking he went for what that night? That's unbelievable. So what a call
yeah.
from that. I doubled
Yeah,
down
what
with
a
that.
call. Was amazing. And yeah, so let's talk about that game. Malik Monk is back. Should see a ton of minutes. He has basically rendered Kevin Horter useless. Keon Ellis has been useless. They got your boy Jai Crowder in the fold a couple games ago. He's been playing a bunch, but he's more there to be the enforcer, if you will. But talk to me about this game. Some injuries on the Blazers side, and we've been seeing Anthony Simons just jack and play about 35 plus minutes. So Kings minus 7.5. Slated scored 116 points at the Trailblazers.
Yeah, no. So like you said, DeRozan's out, so we'll cross him off. Both Grant and Williams are doubtful. And then today we had the Bant and the Scoot questionable. So Klingon out, and then Bant and Scoot, which is it's gonna be tough because you can go so many combos. We'll start with the Kings. We'll get them out of the way. Um, love Fox and Sabonis tonight. I think I'm gonna play Sabonis a little bit more than Fox, even though he's a little bit more expensive. I think he's in a good spot. Um, and this will be the last time I say it because you got to get on and read the slate plan. But I absolutely love what he said about Sabonis in there. I mean, with DeRozan out, it offers triple double upside, and I think this is a great late night hammer spot. I'm gonna go, Sabonis over Fox, but I think Monk's where it's at. I mean, he 53 DraftKings points in 35 minutes. He'll rank out as one of the most popular plays on the slate. Really tough to get away from. But kind of talk about another guy on the other side, Navdia, which is going to be like this, $200. No, they're the same price tonight. He was $200 more last slate, but those are really the three Kings for me. I'm not getting behind Crowder. I love the fact that he's back in there, but he is total enforcer. Hang out in the corner, hit a couple of shots. But no, it brings back exciting stuff. Kind of thinking about him in playoffs and stuff like that. But no, it's going to be Monk is my favorite play in the Kings, and then you have to make your decision between Sabonis and Fox. I'm going to go Sabonis over Fox, but it's very, very close. Everybody else really here, like I don't want to mess with it. This is a great spot, but I think you can get so much production and so much usage by playing 2 out of those 3 guys that we just talked about. That I'm okay just playing those guys. As we go to the Blazers side, though, we're not going to get any of this news for the next couple of hours. This game's at 7:00 10:00 your time. So we have
Yes,
some
the
time before
last
this
game.
is out. Yeah, we have
Just
some
got
time before
news.
this is out.
DFS is out, by the way. DFS is out.
Okay, good. Well, let's do
Yeah,
this, and then
we'll
we'll kind of take
revisit
a
that.
peek at
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good idea.
Avdia. So shout out to him. Shout out to the chat. Everybody's been all over him over the last couple of nights. I will be, one of the guys that does come out and say I tried to get cute with the fade the other night. Did make some money that night, but nothing what it could have been if we would have played him just like how we're supposed to. But he's going to be my favorite here. 37, 41, and 40 DraftKings points over the last 3. But let's kind of go through hypotheticals here. It's if Band and Scooter both out, then I think you're totally comfortable playing Simons and Sharp, and even Avdia. I think make your decision between either one of those guards and play Ayton if you want to at 6,600. He obviously came back from a finger injury, I believe it was. I knew it was upper body, but I think it was a finger. And came out for 16, 12, and 3 blocks, which is good for 41.5 DraftKings points. So he could totally smash his tag in a high-paced game here. And that's really it. I hate to not go too in depth. I can't pull a Rio in this situation, but I think if Scoot and Banton miss, you can play anybody in that spot. I mean, I'll put Kamara last at 5K, even though he's been playing great minutes. I'm going to look at him as kind of like the lowest producer of the group. But to rank him as my favorite, if those guys are both out, it's going to be Avdia, Simons, Ayton, Sharp. It's pretty tough. I get what they were talking about in the chat. You can play Simons and Sharp together, but I do want to get to Avdia, so I'll be okay playing. Let's call it 3 of those 4 guys in a game stack, and then running like a Fox and Monk on the run back. But I think we're going to be able to kind of break this down a little bit better as we get the news, as the slate has started. As this game is going to be one of the 2 late games, you're going to want to leave yourself with some ability to make some changes. So I'm going to kind of focus on kind of getting guys from these later games so I can make those important swaps that could help you win the slate.
Hey, Gang Green's not wrong here. You play Denny Abdia, you play Amen Thompson, you just print. I mean, those dudes, they come off the bench, they play 35 minutes, and they put up 35 plus at like sub 10% ownership. Hey, you're not wrong there. Hey, I've heard a
Did
lot
they
of
bump
narrative.
up Thomas yet? Did they bump him up?
Well, I don't know. He's like 6,500, I think, or something the other day.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of narratives in my life. This is the first, not that. This is the first brother narrative I've ever heard of. Chris or Keegan, brother narrative, Mr. and Mrs. Murray. They got to be thrilled about that. I'm sure they'll be at this game or at least watch it on TV. Any interest in either one of these Murray brothers? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say no to that, but interested your take. Any interest in the Murray brothers? And we got Iowa football playing tonight too. So hey, who knows? Who knows what may happen?
No, I'm good. I mean, just talking Keegan Murray. I mean, 6,800. I'm not going to mess around with that. I think, yeah, it has the opportunity with DeRozan out, but for me, I like Fox, Sabonis, and Monk way more. And I don't know what minutes are going to be for the other brother, so I'll have to take a peek at that.
Hey, if you don't know what the minutes are going to be, it's probably not a good play. So don't play Chris Murray. Let me give you just my take. Yeah, the Monk, love Monk tonight. Think he's in a great spot. It's Monk, Fox, Sabonis for me. Haven't built my team yet, but we'll love those guys. And then, I mean, Nate, big. I'm gonna shout out our guy Nate in chat. He tagged me in chat. Said 8 threes for Anthony Simons. Then I go back and look. He shot double-digit threes 2 of the last 3 games, 7 in the other one. The Kings are one of the worst three-point, one of the defending the three. I can't talk all of a sudden. The Kings, one of the worst teams. Give me some Anthony Simons. I like that. Obviously, like Denny, and then DeAndre Ayton. We did touch on Ayton. I have no interest in Ayton, but somebody had mentioned Ayton. Any interest in Ayton? I don't think so because you didn't mention him. A couple questions before we go back to the Nets. BJ, who's your favorite power forward play on the slate tonight?
Well, that'll kind of play into the Nets stuff here. So with him out, with DFS out, I mean, it kind of depends on a starting lineup. They haven't released that yet, have they? I know we're a lot closer to lock than we normally are. But
I haven't
no, I
seen the
think
starting lineup out
it
yet.
might be Walker. I mean, I don't know. I got to look at it. He's projecting well before he's out, so he might be my favorite. But let's kind of go high dollar, low dollar. High dollar Tatum's going to be up there, which is going to be okay. I think Cam Johnson in the mid tier is going to get a bump with the injuries. Terrible matchup, terrible total. But we've seen what he did. What was it? The game versus Charlotte where they had all those injuries and he went for 34 points. Because I know they had injuries. I'm trying to remember who that was versus, but they had injuries and he was like the only guy on the floor and he had like a 50. Yep, that was that versus Charlotte. He had $5,600 price tag, went for 35 real life and took 20 shots. So I believe he's in a good spot. Obviously, his tag of 68 is really ugly. And then let's find somebody in the low tier for you. Jonathan Isaac's okay. I mean, obviously he's going to get his low 20 minutes and a terrible total, but Brooklyn is not efficient defensively. And he's kind of getting his guaranteed low 20 minutes over the last couple of games. But it's probably going to be Wofford for me at 39. If he slides into the starting lineup, he can get low 20s in minutes. I'm curious to see what we have in minutes projections in the next, couple of minutes before lock. But he's probably going to round out as my favorite low guy.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. Yeah, Ham's about to bet that. Hey, Nate, I appreciate you, man. I am going to go. I haven't yet, but I'm going to now after you said it. So, hey, some money coming your way once that thing hits. Let's go back up let's revisit Brooklyn real quick. Talk about that game. We know DFS is out. That's the only one that I've seen. I know we're waiting on some Jalen Wilson news, if I'm not mistaken. But
He's
now
in.
it sounds like everybody. Claxton's in too, right?
Yeah. So it's no DFS, right? No DFS, and everybody's in.
Okay, yeah. Then I did see that Cam Johnson is in. All right, so now that we know DFS is out, who slides into his starting spot? Do you like Keon, Shake Milton, Zaire Williams? Who's your guy down here, the cheap guy that we're going to get to for these Nets?
See, we have to wait on a starting lineup here. I don't love any of it. I am curious to see if Watford starts for DFS or if it is going to be Zaire Williams. That Rio would have a good answer on that. He probably already has it dialed in, but for me, I don't know who it's going to be between both of those guys.
Williams seems too high price. I mean, 4,900 for Zaire. I can't do it. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And like we alluded to earlier, it's probably not my favorite, but really, I mean, if Watford slides in and start lineup for DFS, I mean, that's probably only going to be the guy that I find interesting. I mean, Shake, I mean, we don't really know what his minutes will be. Ben Simmons might be okay at 5,300 in the guard spot if he gets some extra run. But I am really curious to kind of dive into this, right before lock. What time this game's, going to start the slate. So we'll get a starting lineup here in the next, 10, 15 minutes. So I'm curious to see how that changes. But as of right now, not finding much love. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention that Schroeder's out as well. I mean, that's 30 minutes. So, hey, I'm the guy that always says don't play these Nets. I may be changing my tune tonight. Cam Johnson might be in a smash spot, BJ. Now that we say that, I
Yeah,
said
but
Cam
see, like
Thomas. I meant
I
Cam
would
Johnson.
agree, but oh yeah, Cam Johnson, but 6,800. Like, God, dude, could you stomach on a 7-game slate loading him up for 6,800?
I mean, I would maybe shut the laptop down at like 8:30 type of night. But man, I may stick to my guns. Yeah, these Nets, gosh, they're so frustrating. Ben Simmons, 5,300. I mean, what about Ben Simmons? I mean, he's got 40-point upside at 53. Does he get up into the low 30s?
Yeah, what did he play in minutes last time out? I want to make
27 back-to-back games, 26 plus in the last 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if he collects, his rebounds and assists, but it just scares me that there's no true upside in the points category. Like, could you name another player that you were you could roster that you are so not confident that he can't go for 15, right? Like, if there's hey, $1 million or you go to jail for 10 years, see that on social media. Be like, hey, this guy is gonna play 30 minutes and not score 12 real life points. Who would you pick? It's probably Ben Simmons. It's pretty sick to watch, but obviously has upside. If he falls into a couple of dunks and layups and then rebounds well, it has triple double upside. But I don't think I can get behind it right now at 5,300. versus the Magic.
Well, man, if he gets 12 points, I can promise you it's going to be 6 dunks and or layups. It's not going to be anything else. He may get
He
lucky and
had
go 1 or 2 from the free
14.
throw line.
He
He
went
may get
14
13.
for 7 and 8. He went
Yeah.
for 7 and 8 from the field for 14 points. So I don't know. I think they were all inside the paint. There's no way I have confidence he's making a shot from 15 feet out.
Yeah, no, that'll do it. That's all 7 games. Appreciate you tuning in. 40 minutes to lock. Go out and build those lineups real quick. Just, hey, if you're not a part of the nation, head on over here now. We got it you covered over here on the NBA. I'm on the tab. This is the stone that we've been looking at, the slate plan that we reference. It has every juicy tidbit and nugget that you may need. We have projections. We have the showdown. We have projections and a slate plan for that. I'm going to click on that right now. I think BJ and now Hebrew Cheetah. It's not up yet. Good. So I can show it off a little bit. OKC at LA. Hey, it's going to go down here in a minute. And if you
That's
want to,
fun. I didn't know that was the game tonight. That's going to be a
yeah,
good one.
that's somebody
Yeah.
good one to check in. Head on over to the nation. Great time to hit us up over here. If you aren't a member, we are running a Black Friday sale. No better time. BF, boy as in B as in boy, F as in Frank, 50 gets you 50% off your first month. That gets you all sports. Or if you just wanted to do the rest of the season football package, that includes NFL and college for what little is left of college, $99 for the rest of the season. Hey, just $30 if you want to throw in the Shiptimizer with it. The Shiptimizer, the optimizer that is designed to help you ship. BJ, it's our customary Friday play of the day. I don't even know who you can and cannot say, so just give me your best play of the day that you'll be locking and loading on your main team tonight.
Best play. Well, the mid tier obviously won. I haven't posted the core yet, but it's gonna be Jacoby at the low tier. But I think it's gonna be Isaiah Hardenstein at 6,800. I think that price is too cheap. I think it's a great spot. I'm not super nervous about Anthony Davis' defense. So he's probably gonna be my favorite play as of right now if the slate started in 30 seconds.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I probably shouldn't cheat, but I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna have to go with the $10,000 guy, Jason Tatum. He's about to play in that rock and jock basketball game, the old MTV game. He's gonna put up like 40. You're gonna think he hit like a couple of those 10-point shots that they did back in the day. But I love me some Jason Tatum tonight. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, thank you for. Yeah, I was like, I can barely see your face. So appreciate you doing that. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Our crew will be back Sunday morning with the NFL show. BJ and myself will be doing slate plan and showdown this weekend. So thanks for tuning in. For my guy BJ, I'm Ham. Let's ship it.